This is a story that took place more than 2,000 years ago in one of the most advanced civilizations in the world. It tells of a young king who came to rule a great empire. His name was Qin Shi Huangdi, the first emperor of China. He was a brilliant strategist. He conquered all of ancient China, and to this day it bears his name. Almost everything we know about him comes from a chronicle written a century after Qin's death. China, 206 BC. Rebel forces break into the chambers where the first emperor was laid to rest just 4 years ago. These same rebels are already in the process of reducing the Qin Empire to ashes. Now they invade the empire of the afterlife. In their fury, they destroy symbols of the decades of slavery their first emperor made them suffer. For more than 2,000 years afterwards, this site lies hidden. Then, in 1974, a group of farmers looking for water come across a few fragments of terracotta. An archaeological dig begins, and today, in the Xi'an region, a hall as big as an aircraft hangar contains the result. What the scientists discovered was a gigantic army in clay, complete with chariots and war horses, infantry, officers and archers, all life-sized and drawn up in rank and file, as many as 8,000 figures in total. Each figure is unique, with each face showing a perfectly modelled, distinct individual. The emperor is born in 259 BC as a prince of the small kingdom of Qin. At the age of 13, the boy ascends to the throne of the kingdom of Qin. He's determined to lead the kingdom to unprecedented glory and to unite all China under its flag. China's unification becomes his lifelong obsession. The Prime Minister and the boy's mother give him their full support in this most grave of undertakings. But until the young king comes of age, it's the Prime Minister himself who will run the country, along with the court officials. The Prime Minister has been a successful businessman, and he uses a similar business-like approach with the government. He introduces an efficient tax system, encourages manufacturing and trade, and leads the small kingdom of Qin to prosperity. But in doing so, he creates an economic base for war. In the China of 2,300 years ago, many small kingdoms are vying for supremacy. Of the 7 most powerful, Qin is spared the worst of the conflict because of its formidable natural defenses. But in 230 BC, when the king is 29, the Qin armies are prepared for battle. The moment has been well chosen. Over the centuries, the other kingdoms have worn each other down. Their armies are now exhausted and their loss is huge. Their people long for peace. Nonetheless, the king leaves nothing to chance. With military force, he triumphs over the other kingdoms. It is this mighty army that was recorded in terracotta. First came 3 rows of crossbowmen, the artillery of their day. Then came chariots, wheeled war machines, each drawn by 4 war horses. It was from these that the officers commanded their troops. In their wake came the infantry, marching in ranks of 4. Their features were masks of determination and cruelty that made them the most feared warriors of their day. The special units flanking each chariot carried lances up to 6 meters long. In close combat, they were to protect the chariots at all costs from enemy attack. But the most effective weapon in the Emperor's arsenal was the crossbow. With a range of up to 800 meters, it could destroy the enemy's ranks without the need for hand-to-hand combat. Chronicles tell of endless swarms of arrows darkening the sky as they arced into enemy territory. The Qin military machine was deployed with just one aim: to attack. The Roman census in 225 BC counted 800,000 troops available to defend that empire, but the King of Qin has an army of more than 1 million soldiers at his disposal. Numerous towns are besieged. Bravery is prized above all, and the penalty for cowardice is summary execution. The Qin army is described as setting upon its enemies like a dog hunting a crippled hare. The King of Qin's revolution claims more than 2 million lives. The old feudal order, with its concept of honor and mercy, has passed into history. Qin's officers earn promotion through success on the battlefield, not through family status. Bring me the head of an enemy soldier and you will advance by 1 rank, is the maxim by which Qin soldiers are trained and by which they live and fight. Prisoners of war now face execution, which usually means being buried alive. If the accounts can be believed, in one battle alone, 400,000 enemy soldiers are dispatched in this way. People in China today still can't agree whether the ends justified the means. For some people, the King of Qin was the cruelest of despots. But others see him as the father of the nation, the man who swept away the feudal states with a single stroke. In just 5 years, the Tiger of Qin, as he is soon called, has conquered 3 neighboring states. The fall of the Kingdom of Yan seems to be only a matter of time. Yan sends an envoy to the Qin court as a sign of submission. He is to hand over a map of the kingdom. But the envoy has a secret purpose: assassination. Whether by luck or destiny, the King of Qin has survived, now more certain than ever that his mission is to complete the unification of China. Within 6 years, the remaining kingdoms are all under his control. By 221 BC, China is one under the Qin flag. The King of Qin is now crowned Emperor of China. The individual kingdoms had long built barriers to protect their borders. But the Emperor of Qin extends them into the greatest defensive barrier the world has ever seen, the Great Wall. Remains of the 2,000-year-old structure can still be seen. The huge towers and ramparts were built mainly of rammed earth, lined with stone blocks. The wall stretches across the landscape for more than 5,000 kilometers. A giant dragon guarding the northern frontier. The emperor works on the wall for more than 10 years, and the emperor's subjects pay the price. Compulsory work details are extended and taxes increased as much as 3,000%. People who don't pay the taxes are condemned to slave labor, but even this can't satisfy the huge need for workers for the emperor's projects. The slave workers are branded with the mark of the criminal. This makes escape pointless. The shame of their fate is permanently written on their faces. Traditional order was based on the teachings of Confucius, who taught that a ruler should persuade with wisdom and moral power, not through force and cruelty. But the Emperor of Qin orders that all Confucius writings and every history book be destroyed. He wants the past expunged from the nation's consciousness. But beyond the printed word, the emperor fears what's in the minds of men. He finds a reason to arrest and execute 460 scholars, a crime that, above all others, has remained seared in the nation's memory. The emperor's ambitious advisors had informed him that the scholars and their beliefs threatened his search for immortality. In the old kingdom of Qin, the prime minister prevented the advisors from having too much influence over the ruler. But the emperor-to-be had discovered that the prime minister was plotting against him. The prime minister was banned from court and sent into exile with no return. The banishment is a warning to anyone who might dare to turn against the ruler. The prime minister had initially been the architect of the realm. He is now the victim of his own grand design. But without the old prime minister's tempering influence, tyranny and oppression now have free rein. The ruler even accuses his mother of taking part in a conspiracy against him, and puts her under house arrest. This too is a political act that crushes the traditional values of the ancestors. For according to Confucius, respect for one's parents is the foundation stone of a harmonious community. And he who violates this law calls forth chaos, and doom. In every province of the empire, there are uprisings. At first, the army is able to put them down, but as soon as unrest is quelled in one region, it bursts out in another. The Emperor of Qin can no longer trust his own people, and he withdraws to his palace in fear. Even there, he no longer feels truly safe. His paranoia knows no bounds, and only his closest advisors are allowed to know where he is. But he fears one enemy above all others: death. The earlier assassination attempt still haunts him. But as Emperor, he feels he is entitled to godly powers and immortality.